Somewhere in your home right now, there is a specific drawer or plastic bin, or maybe an entire shelf in a closet that you try not to look at too closely. You know exactly what is inside it. It is a tangled, chaotic mass of black and white cables. There is a charger for a digital camera you have. Not owned since 2012, there is a mysterious AC adapter that belongs to an appliance you can no longer identify. There are 3 different USB cords that are slightly frayed at the ends, a pair of wired headphones with one working earbud, and a collection of random screws, Allen wrenches, and spare buttons in a tiny Ziploc bag. You have not touched any of these items in years. They are taking up physical space in your home. They are collecting dust. They are, by any objective, logical definition of the word, completely and utterly useless. And yet, every time you clean house, every time you pull out a trash bag with the firm intention of throwing all that junk away, something stops you. You pick up that heavy, obscure power brick, you hold it over the garbage can, and a tiny, anxious voice in the back of your head whispers, "Wait, what if I need this? What if I throw it away today and next week I suddenly have an absolute emergency that can only be solved by a Nokia phone charger from 2008? You put it back in the drawer. And it is not just the cables, it is the boxes too. Think about the last time you bought a new phone, expensive shoes, or a high-quality blender. You took the item out and you were left with a really sturdy, beautifully constructed cardboard box with a magnetic lid. You looked at that box and you thought, I cannot throw this away. This is a very good box. I could put things in this box. So you took this completely empty piece of cardboard, carried it to the top shelf of your closet, and added it to a graveyard of other empty, perfectly good boxes that have been sitting there for 5 years. Why do we do this? You live in an era of unprecedented, almost magical abundance. If you really needed a random cable, you could tap a piece of glass in your pocket and a delivery driver would drop it at your front door in less than 24 hours. We are surrounded by a hyper-consumerist ecosystem where absolutely everything is replaceable, cheap, and immediately accessible. Logically, your brain should understand that holding onto a broken piece of plastic is completely absurd, but your brain refuses to throw it away. And the reason for this is one of the most fascinating and misunderstood glitches in human psychology. You see, when you hold that cable over the trash can, the part of your brain making the decision is not living in the 21st century, it is living in the Ice Age. To understand why you cannot throw away your junk, we have to strip away the illusion of modern civilization and travel back to the world that actually built your nervous system. Imagine it is 40,000 years ago. You are a hunter-gatherer living in the Pleistocene epoch, and your entire existence is defined by one single inescapable reality: absolute, suffocating, terrifying scarcity. In the modern world, if you lose a tool, you go to the store and buy another one. In the primal world, there are no stores. There is no supply chain. There is only what you can find, what you can make, and what you can carry. I want you to really think about the brutal, unforgiving economics of the prehistoric world. Let us say you need a knife to process the meat from an animal your tribe just managed to kill. You cannot just pick up any rock. You have to walk for days to find a very specific type of stone, like flint or obsidian, that will fracture in exactly the right way. Then, you have to sit in the freezing cold and spend hours carefully striking that stone with a heavy bone or an antler, knocking off flakes, perfectly calculating the angle and the force of every single strike. It requires immense physical energy, intense focus, and highly specialized knowledge that took years to learn. And you are doing all of this on an empty stomach, burning calories you desperately need just to stay warm. By the time you finally finish that stone blade, it is not just a tool. It is an incredibly expensive investment of your life energy. It is your only insurance policy against starving to death. Now, imagine a few months pass. The edge of your flint knife gets chipped. It becomes dull. It is no longer good for cutting meat or scraping hides. To a modern mind, a broken, dull knife is trash. You throw it away and get a new one. But to your prehistoric ancestor, throwing away that dull piece of stone would be an act of absolute insanity. In the primal world, there is no such thing as trash. There is only potential utility. That dull stone cannot cut meat anymore, but it could be used to spark a fire. It could be used to grind seeds. It could be broken down again to make smaller arrowheads. Even a completely broken piece of bone left over from a meal was kept because it could eventually be carved into a needle for sewing winter clothes. A scrap of animal sinew was saved because it could be used to tie a spearhead to a wooden shaft. In a world of absolute scarcity, every single object, no matter how small, broken, or seemingly useless, represented a tiny sliver of a chance at surviving the next brutal winter. This means that for millions of years, the human brain was aggressively and ruthlessly rewarded for hoarding. The humans who threw things away when they were no longer immediately useful did not survive. When a sudden blizzard hit or a drought wiped out the local plant life, the minimalist caveman who liked a clean, uncluttered living space froze to death or starved. The humans who survived, the ones who lived long enough to pass their genes down to you, were the hoarders. They were the ones who kept a pile of weird sticks, dull rocks, and broken bones in the back of the cave, just in case. This brings us to the actual physical hardware inside your head today. Your brain has not evolved past this. Biological evolution is incredibly slow, and the modern world of infinite Amazon deliveries is barely a fraction of a second old on the evolutionary timeline. When you pick up that mysterious AC adapter from your junk drawer and try to throw it in the trash, the logical modern part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, knows you do not need it. But your limbic system, the ancient, emotional, survival-driven core of your brain, looks at that object and panics. Your limbic system does not know what a computer is, does not know what electricity is, but it recognizes the physical properties of the object. It sees a long, flexible, incredibly strong cord. To a primal brain, a cord is essentially a highly advanced piece of vine or animal sinew. It is the ultimate tool for tying things together, for building a shelter, for making a trap. When you try to discard it, your ancient survival software screams at you. It is literally sending an emergency signal that says, "What are you doing? Do you have any idea how many calories it would take to replace this? We might need to tie something down to survive the winter. Do not throw this away." And this is not just a metaphor. Neuroscientists have actually put people into functional MRI machines and ask them to make decisions about throwing away their personal items, including things they consider useless junk. The brain scans revealed something genuinely incredible. When people decided to throw an item away, the regions of the brain that lit up were the anterior insula and the anterior cingulate cortex. These are the exact same regions of the brain that process real physical pain. When you throw away a perfectly good cardboard box, your brain is not just making a casual organizational decision. It is experiencing a microdose of physical agony. It is generating the exact same neurological distress signal you would feel if you slammed your finger in a door. Because to your primal brain, wasting a valuable resource is a direct threat to your physical safety. By the way, if you love discovering these hidden, mind-bending evolutionary glitches, and you want to understand why your brain is constantly tricking you into acting like a caveman, you need to join the tribe. Hit the subscribe button and like this video to help the Mesolithic Mind channel grow. We are diving deep into the psychology of human survival every single week. So subscribe and let us get back to understanding why your closet is so incredibly full of things you never use. Let us talk about those cardboard boxes because they are the ultimate proof of this evolutionary glitch. Why are we so obsessed with holding onto sturdy boxes? It all comes back to the primal instinct for storage and protection. In the natural world, a perfectly hollow, lightweight, rigid container is incredibly rare and incredibly valuable. Before pottery, before woven baskets, early humans had to rely on animal stomachs, hollowed out gourds, or folded bark to carry things. Finding a way to safely store food away from insects, or a way to carry small, vital tools across a vast landscape was a massive logistical nightmare. When you look at an iPhone box, your modern brain sees cardboard, but your ancient hunter-gatherer brain sees a structural miracle. It sees a perfectly symmetrical, lightweight, highly protective container that closes securely. It is the ultimate prehistoric Tupperware. Your brain looks at that box and instantly calculates its survival value. We could put seeds in this. We could keep dry tinder in this for a fire. We cannot possibly throw away a container of this quality. So you carry it to the top shelf of your closet, satisfying a millions of years old instinct to secure a high quality vessel for the tribe. The problem we face today is an evolutionary mismatch. For 99.9% of human history, the urge to keep everything was the exact behavior that kept us alive. But over the last century, the environment changed faster than our biology could adapt. We took a brain that is permanently terrified of freezing in an ice age, and we put it in the middle of a shopping mall. We took an animal that is biologically programmed to hoard any resource it can find, and we gave it a credit card and one-click shipping. The result is overflowing garages, bursting closets, and that one chaotic drawer in your kitchen that is so packed with random junk you can barely pull it open. We feel guilty about this. Society tells us that keeping old, useless things is a sign of laziness or a lack of discipline. We watch minimalist lifestyle videos on the internet and feel bad that our homes are not perfectly empty and pristine, but you should not feel guilty. Your inability to throw things away is not a personal failure. It is a monument to the staggering resilience of the human species. Every single useless cord, every rusty screw, every empty cardboard box in your home is proof that you are the descendant of the ultimate survivors. You are here today because your ancestors refused to throw away a dull piece of flint. You are here because they looked at a broken bone and saw a tool that could save their lives. That instinct is hardwired into your DNA. It is the reason humanity made it through the brutal winters, the famines, and the darkness of the prehistoric world. So the next time you are cleaning your house and you pick up that tangled mess of useless wires and you feel that sudden, irrational hesitation about throwing them in the trash, do not beat yourself up. Take a second to appreciate the magnificent, ancient machinery of your own mind. That hesitation is the echo of a caveman trying to keep you safe. Look at that weird, unidentifiable power cord. Look at that really good cardboard box. You know what? Just put them back in the drawer. You never know when the next ice age is going to hit, and when it does, you are going to be the most prepared person on Earth.